Well, I'll tell you, it's rough when you have to stand on a ladder to pick your Roma tomatoes. And I've had to just let them go ahead and fall over because they're about 10 foot tall, and I've tied them up. We've got them on this trellis. I tied a bunch of them up where they'd grow down the trellis, down sideways, but they just keep growing up. So they're going to do what they do. But I want to show y'all, I'm fixing to pick my first ripe Roma. I think it's real pretty. But this is my first ripe Roma. And you know, I bought all these plants at a nursery in one of my local towns near me. But I can't remember for the life of me what kind of... I want to think that it's just an Italian Roma tomato. But I'm telling you, some of them are so big. They're not little Romas. They're not little, nothing like little plum tomatoes. You see how big this one is to my hand? I mean, it's big. And most of them are that way too. You can see how tall they've gotten, and I've just had them let them just come on over. And they're still blooming on top. They're doing good. But they're just big tomatoes, big Romas. I had a squirrel get several of them, which was pretty aggravating. But we only got 200 of them squirrels around here, so what do you do? Fried squirrel, squirrel and dumplings. So I've got quite a few that are gonna ripen. And as I do, I'm gonna put them in the freezer because we'll have tomatoes plumb up to the first frost. Now I've got a lot of blooms up there. So hopefully, I've also had some tomato worms too. My sweet potatoes are doing good, but I've had leaf weevils. I've had to spray them, but they're still doing good. And over here, I've got leaf weevils here too. These are pole beans, my purple pole beans, and I want you to look at the leaves. The leaf weevils have just ate holes in every leaf. My beans are going to be okay, I think. But I mean, they came out here and they done this within a day because I had just checked on them. I'm out in the garden every day pretty much. My sweet potatoes over here, I had to spray them with a little bit of spray. I've got a little bit of water with a little bit of dish soap in it. They had some holes in the leaves from leaf weevils. I mean, look at them. They can destroy a whole plant pretty quick. But I'm thinking, you know, with me spraying them, getting a hold of it, maybe my beans will be okay. I mean, the beans look okay, but the leaves just look awful. So, we'll see. And over here, I pulled up, this thing was just full of green beans, and I pulled them up and replanted them so I'd have beans to can this fall. I've got a few coming up, but they're not all up yet. So, I'll have some fall green beans. And over here, I want you to look. I planted some speckled butter beans, and I planted these the same day I did my green beans, and they pretty much all come up already. And I've got a trellis here ready for them to climb. And then right now I've got my tool here covering them because to keep the squirrels out, because when they're young and tender like this, the squirrels will be in there just tearing them up, digging them up. And I'm telling you, the squirrels have really played havoc on my garden this year. They've ate a bunch of tomatoes, destroyed a bunch of tomatoes, and it just kills me. I planted some more zucchini plants, so I'd have some zucchini coming in the fall. I got some tomato plants around back here. They're still young, and hoping they'll go into the fall. My fig tree back right there is doing good. I got little figs on them. But I had several little tomatoes on these little plants back here, and the squirrels, they done took them, snuck off with them. My cucumber plant is doing good. It's crawling up my old greenhouse here, and it's giving me several cucumbers. My raspberry bushes are climbing the trellis. I'm trying to train them to climb the trellis, and they're doing good. My cherry tree is growing. I really don't think I'll have cherries, though, for a couple of years. And right back there, about 10 foot tall, right by the old greenhouse, are about 3 tomato plants. And they got a lot of blooms on them. They're growing straight up to the sky like everything else. Squirrels have ate some of my tomatoes off of them, but the plants are looking good. My shade tunnel's doing good, and it's still full. I had to pull a lot of stuff up. To look, the bees have really done a number on the hyssop. There's not hardly a petal left. I mean, look at them. They have really come out here, and like I said, mason bees is all I've got here. I don't have any honeybees around here. They're in here if I can just find it. There it is. They're still working on it. First plant inside the high tunnel is back here against the side of it, and it's growing up the side. And I've gotten several squash off of it, and I'm still getting squash. So I don't know how tall it's going to get, but... And I am having some mildew problems, but it's so humid, that's what happens here in Arkansas. My thyme is still doing good out here. All the tomato plants are going to the top, and I'm just letting them. There's been a few that bloom. There's some that's not, but I'm just going to leave them. I won't plant them in here next year, unless I just leave the plastic on. My purple basil is starting to turn green. I've been harvesting it off and on. The squash plant, you can see, is growing up to the top, of course. We'll see if it'll make me any kind of squash. Danny's out there on the tractor. There's squash bug. Tell you, I hate those things. They absolutely ruin your squash plants. But it's been so hot here that things are really struggling, I tell you. Struggling bad. But I'm fixing here in probably a couple of weeks, going to start my fall plants. And I'm really looking forward to my fall plants, because my favorite garden anymore here in Arkansas is a fall garden. My garden here on this hill does really good as we go into fall. When the humidity is gone, when the air's a little bit crisper, we're getting a little bit more rain. Sometimes I think I'm going to start just planting my garden about August, and not even do a summer garden, because you spend so much time and love and so much hard work, and summertime is so hard on our gardens here in Northeast Arkansas. But I do have quite a bit canned and put up, so I really shouldn't complain. Y'all have a wonderful week, everybody, and God bless.